राम राम हरे हरे,
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम हरे हरे।
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, जय गिरिवरधारी।
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी, जय गोपी जन वल्लभ, गिरिवरधारी।
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari
Hare Krishna. So, very warm welcome to all of you for today's session on the Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll start our session with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. So we discussed in the previous session about how the Lord enters into this material energy, and because of the Lord entering this material energy, this whole material energy starts to function. We discussed that in the beginning this material energy is in the form of Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva means unmanifest state of material energy. Okay, the unmanifest state, that means still that dark region is there in the beginning. So that dark region is there. So the dark region is called Mahat Tattva, and as soon as the Lord enters into that Mahat Tattva, that dark region, we discussed in our previous session that that dark region, it becomes illuminated by the Lord's energy, right? So that dark region gets illuminated by the Lord's energy, Lord Narayana's energy, and that Narayan is Mahavishnu. So that dark region gets illuminated because of the energy of the Lord, and because that dark region gets illuminated, in the beginning there is only the Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord is Nirguna. Nirguna means he's beyond the three modes. So in the beginning, everything is pure. Dark region is created. It is created for impurity. Ultimately, impurity will enter. But in the beginning, because it is also a creation from Brahman, and Brahman is the superior potency of Krishna, or the potency of Krishna, the effulgence of Krishna. So because that Mahat Tattva has also been created from Brahman only, so that is in the beginning very pure, and when the Lord enters, it gets illuminated also because of his potency. And we discussed in our previous session also that the Sattva Guna in the beginning, it is filled with Vasudev Guna or Vasudev Sattva. There is difference between material Sattva Guna and spiritual Sattva Guna. Material Sattva Guna is called Sattva Guna, goodness. But Vasudev Sattva Guna means pure mode of goodness, unalloyed mode of goodness exists only in the spiritual world, not in the material world. Because in the material world, the mode of goodness is material mode of goodness. Although it is very conducive for bhakti, but still the goal of bhakti is to rise above material mode of goodness and to enter Vasudev mode of goodness or Vasudev Sattva. So Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So Vishuddha Sattva means Vasudev Sattva. The goal of life is to enter into transcendental or divine mode of goodness, which is beyond the mode of goodness. Okay. So that's what we discussed in our previous session. Now today we'll begin our discussion with text 22, Shloka number 22 of the 26th chapter of the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Swachhattam Swachhatvam Avikaritvam Shantatvamiti Chetasaha Vrittibhirlakshanam Proktam Yathapam Prakriti Para. Swachhatvam Avikaritvam Shantatvam iti Chetasaha Vrittibhirlakshanam Proktam Yathapam Prakriti Para. Translation: after the manifestation of the Mahat Tattva, these features appear simultaneously as water in its natural state before coming in contact with earth is clear, sweet and unruffled. So the characteristic traits of pure consciousness are complete serenity, clarity and freedom from distraction. So many a times you might have heard from me this example, which is given here in Srimad Bhagavatam also. You see, it is mentioned that Swachhattam Avikaritvam Shantatvam. Here in these shlokas, the discussion or the talk is about pure unalloyed mode of goodness, which is there in the beginning in this Mahat Tattva, okay, in this material creation. The beginning stages of material creation, the beginning stages of material energy, which is called Mahat Tattva, which is the unmanifest state of material energy. Okay. So it is mentioned that swachhatvam, avikaritvam, shantatvam. So swachatvam means pure. Avikaritvam means there is no change, or it's unchangeable. And shantatva means in its completely serene state, or you can say peacefulness is there, right? Because in the beginning there is only Vasudev consciousness or Vasudev Sattva platform. Then iti chetasa, chetasa means consciousness. Vrittibhi lakshanam proktam yathapam prakriti para. Yatha apam, apam means water. Okay. So here it is mentioned that vrittibhir lakshanam proktam. All the traits. So lakshanam proktam is the characteristics, the traits. So vrittibhir lakshanam proktam. So the traits and the characteristics in the beginning are all pure, completely pure, peaceful, completely unchangeable, right? Then apam prakriti para. Apam prakriti para means rainfall or rainwater. The example of rainwater is given here. Just like I have given this example many times, that when the rainwater in the beginning is in its pure state, before it touches earthly planet, before it touches earth or mud, but as soon as the rainwater touches mud, it becomes muddy. Similarly, in the beginning stages, this Mahat Tattva is in its pure state, and the pure state of Mahat Tattva is as good as Brahman, as good as the potency of Krishna, which is Brahma, in the beginning stages. But then, as we have discussed, that as soon as the rainwater touches earth, it becomes muddy, it becomes impure. Similarly, living entity also in its pure state is fully pure. In its initial state, even this material existence is in its pure state. So, the pure state of material existence is mentioned here, right? So, for material, even for living entities, the pure state of consciousness is Krishna consciousness, is the consciousness of the Supreme Lord. That is our pure consciousness. But when we enter into this material energy, our consciousness gets contaminated by this material energy of the Lord. And that is why you see the 24th element, the 24 elements that we discussed in our previous sessions. Amongst these 24 elements, the 24th element is contaminated consciousness, right? So, in the beginning stages, in the beginning, consciousness is pure consciousness. But as soon as the living entity enters into this material energy, his consciousness becomes contaminated because of the material energy of the Lord. And the material energy of the Lord consists of the three modes, time element. So because of this material energy of the Lord, consciousness becomes polluted or contaminated. Okay. So the universal consciousness also in the beginning is in its pure state. And that pure state is mentioned here. Swachhattam avikaritvam shantatvam. So swach means pure, avikaritvam means unagitated, and shantatva means complete serene or peace. Okay. Now text 23 and 24. Mahattatvam vikurvanad bhagavad virya sambhavat kriya shaktir trividha samapadyata vaikarikastejasascha tamasascha yato bhavah मनसश्चेन्द्रियाणां च भूतानां महतामपि महत्तत्वाद् विकुर्वाणाद् भगवद्वीर्यसम्भवात् क्रियाशक्तिरहङ्कारस् त्रिविधः समपद्यत वैकारिकस्तैजश्च तामसश्च यतो भवः मनसश्चेन्द्रियाणां च भूतानां महतामपि. Translation: the material energy springs up from the Mahat Tattva, which evolved from the Lord's own energy. The material ego is endowed predominantly with active power of three kinds: good, passionate, and ignorant. From these three types of material ego, the mind, the sense of perception, and the organs of action and the gross elements evolve. You see? So, these two shlokas and the previous shloka also, in fact, this series of shlokas talk about the beginning stages of material energy, which is called Mahat Tattva. Okay. Now, as we know that material body cannot run without spiritual energy, right? Energy is present only in spirit, not in matter. Matter does not possess any energy as such. Energy means potency to move, right? So that is present only in the spirit soul. The body cannot move without the spirit soul. Body cannot move on its own. Matter cannot move on its own. Moves because of spiritual potency. Similarly, this material existence also cannot move without the Lord entering this material creation. So the beginning stages of material creation is in its pure state, which is called Mahat Tattva. This body runs because of the consciousness of the spirit soul, isn't it? Every body in this material creation moves because of the presence of spirit soul within the body. Similarly, this material energy is also moving because of the super soul or Paramatma who has entered into this material nature, who is called Mahavishnu. He is the soul of the material creation, isn't it? So just like there is consciousness all over the body, which is called bodily consciousness, similarly, there is consciousness all over the universe, which is called material consciousness or the consciousness of the universe. It is a cumulative or sum total of consciousness of this whole material creation. So here it is mentioned that Mahat Tattvad Vikurvanad. Mahat Tattvad Vikurvanad. So basically, Mahat Tattvad is the Mahat Tattva, which we discussed in the previous sessions, in the previous shlokas. Vikurvanad means it gets transformed, or there is transformation in that Mahat Tattva gradually. Because we discussed what we discussed in the previous shloka, that in the beginning Mahat Tattva is in its pure state. Mahat Tattva means pure state of material energy, which is as good as spiritual energy. Because material energy is also a creation of spiritual energy, isn't it? So in the beginning stages, there is no difference. It's almost the same as spiritual energy only. Because ultimately, it is a creation of the spiritual potency of the Lord only, this material energy. And when the Lord enters, it gets illuminated by the energy of the Lord. And in the beginning, the consciousness which is present is pure consciousness. But now here we see this shloka, very important, very beautiful shloka. The transformation is going on from purity to impurity. So that is what is mentioned here. Mahat Tattvad Vikurvanat. So this Mahat Tattva undergoes transformation. Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. You see, so Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. So in the, because this material energy is, you see, these Mayavadis, they say that this material energy runs on its own. There is no creator. If there is no creator, then why we say this is creation? Isn't it? They say creation, but they say there is no creator. How foolish it is, isn't it? You see here what is mentioned in the shloka. Such a beautiful and important point mentioned here by Vyasdev. What is he saying? Not Vyasdev, but our Maitreya Rishi. So what is he saying? No, Bhagwan Kapil. What is he saying? Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. Mahat Tattvad Vikurvanad Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. Bhagavad Virya means energy of Krishna. This material energy is also Krishna's energy, and Virya means potency of the Lord, potency of Krishna. So Bhagavad Virya means potency of the Lord. Sambhavat means created. So this Mahat Tattva, that is what is mentioned here. You see, Mahat Tattvat Vikurvanat. So the transformation which Mahat Tattva undergoes, because this Mahat Tattva is also Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat, it is created from the Lord's energy. It is Krishna's potency, this material energy. Okay. Kriya Shakti Rahankaras. So, Kriya Shakti Rahankaras. Kriya Shakti means Kriya. Kriya means action potency. Action. Shakti means potency or energy. And Kriya means actionable. Action, activity. Okay. Ahankaras. Trividha Samapadyata. Okay. So, Kriya Shakti Rahankaras. So in the beginning stages, as we know, Mahat Tattva is the pure state of material energy or existence, which has no impurity in the beginning stages. But gradually you see what is happening. Kriya Shakti. Now Kriya is action. How this material energy becomes active? Because in the beginning there is no activity. It is created from Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat. Because this Mahat Tattva is created from the Lord's potency, Lord's energy. In the beginning stages, only the Lord is present. But Bhagavad Virya Sambhavat Vikurvanat. But because of the Lord's intervention, what happens? Vikurvana, transformation happens. In the beginning, there is no activity, but transformation is happening. What is happening? Kriya Shaktir, moving. It starts moving. Kriya means movement, action. So this material energy starts to move. It starts to act. Kriya Shaktir Ahankaras. Trividha Samapadyata. So Ahankaras Trividha. Ahankar means false ego. False ego. Okay. Samapadyata means it means the creation or arise. It arises. It springs up. Okay. It happens. It starts. It rises. It springs up. So what springs up? Ahankaras. Which kind of ahankar? Trividha. Trividha means three kinds of ahankar develops. So what is happening here? You see the whole sequence. So in the beginning, in the spiritual energy of Krishna, which is called Brahman or Brahma Jyoti, a dark region is created, which is called Mahat Tattva. A very small part of Brahma Jyoti, at a corner of Brahma Jyoti, in a very small part of Brahma Jyoti, a dark region is created. That dark region is called Mahat Tattva. Okay. When the Lord enters into that Mahat Tattva, this Mahat Tattva gets illuminated. So now transformation is going on. In the beginning, even the Lord did not enter. This Mahat Tattva was completely dark. But when the Lord entered, this Mahat Tattva gets illuminated by the Lord's energy. And now transformation is going on. So what is happening? Kriya Shakti Rahankaras. As we have discussed in the previous shloka, that water drops in the beginning stages, rainwater, the water droplets are pure, but as soon as it comes in touch with mud, it becomes muddy. Similarly, in the beginning, there is pure consciousness, but Kriya Shakti Rahankara Trividha, false ego develops because of contaminated consciousness. Okay. Now, where from this contaminated consciousness comes? So, this contamination in consciousness comes because of material energy of Krishna. Many times we have discussed that as soon as a living entity enters into this material energy, his consciousness becomes contaminated, impure. Okay. So, his consciousness becomes impure. Okay. So, because of this contaminated consciousness, a living entity becomes forgetful of Krishna. This forgetfulness of Krishna is the root cause of material existence, right? So the living entity becomes forgetful of Krishna. Okay. Then what happens? Kriya Shakti. You see, the word is used here. So why living entity is put in forgetfulness? Why he forgets Krishna? Why he forgets himself? Because of Avidya Shakti. Now which Shakti is acting? Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti is the three modes. The three modes of material nature. So then the three modes of material nature starts acting. So now living entity has forgotten himself, and now the three modes have started acting, which is called Kriya Shakti. So forget the potency which puts a living entity in forgetfulness of Krishna is called Avidya Shakti. Okay, which is also called contaminated consciousness. Okay, because of Avidya Shakti, consciousness becomes impure because the living entity is pure consciousness is he is conscious of the Lord, he is part and parcel of Krishna. But impure or contaminated consciousness means he forgets Krishna. So contaminated consciousness is because of Avidya Shakti. False ego. Now what is false ego? So now the living entity has forgotten Krishna. But when he enters into this material creation or material energy, he has forgotten Krishna. That's why he has entered this material energy. Now, so when he enters into this material energy, Avidya Shakti acts and he completely forgets himself as well as Krishna. Now he has forgotten everything. The example can be given when we sleep. So when we sleep, we completely forget ourselves, isn't it? When we sleep, we are sleeping on our bed. But after sleep, do we remember where are we sleeping? No. We completely forget ourselves. Completely. We have no consciousness of our present condition or of our original condition. We forget ourselves during sleep, isn't it? Same state happens. So because of Avidya Shakti, a living entity is put into forgetfulness means his sleep state starts. Slumber, it is called material slumber. Then what happens? Now when you sleep, after some time, mind starts active. Mind becomes active or mind starts acting. And when mind starts acting, what happens? We enter into dream state. Dream state is the state of false ego. What is our real? Ego means identification, identity. What is my identity? My identity is that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, I am part and parcel of Krishna. That is my original identity. But now, when the living entity enters into this material nature, he forgets his real identity. So, now identity has to be there, either real or false. So, when you sleep, you have forgotten yourself. But in a dream, you have another identity of the person in the dream. Isn't it? In a dream also, we see a personality and we identify with that personality. We forget ourselves, but we start identifying with the personality in the dream. So identity is a characteristic of the soul. It is called ego. Ego has to be there. It's a function of the spirit soul. Okay. The symptom of the spirit soul is consciousness. Isn't it? The symptom of the spirit soul is consciousness. Because of consciousness, we know who we are, and that is called ego. So ego also is a characteristic of the spirit soul. Body has got no ego, isn't it? As soon as the spirit soul leaves the body, do we have an ego? No. So ego is a characteristic of the spirit soul. It's a function, it's a characteristic of the spirit soul, ego. Because of ego, we know who we are, that I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am a lover of Krishna, I am a servant of Krishna. That is called ego. That is our original ego in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, our real ego exists, and that's why we are eternally engaged in service of Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. The consciousness of Golok Vrindavan is pure consciousness. And the ego in Golok Vrindavan, ego is there in Golok Vrindavan also. We all have our original ego. And what is that? I am eternal associate and servant of Krishna. That is our real ego. But as soon as the living entity enters into this material energy, his real ego gets transformed into false ego. Because of avidya shakti, he forgets himself, and now kriya shakti starts acting. So when kriya shakti, because living entity has forgotten, just like in a dream, we forget ourselves. And then we identify ourselves because of the character in the dream. Now, who has created the character in the dream? The mind. Similarly, who creates this character with whom we identify? That character is the body. As of now, we identify with this material body, isn't it? So, who has created this material body? The three modes, which is called Kriya Shakti of the Lord. So because of Avidya Shakti, we forget Krishna and we forget ourselves. And when Kriya Shakti starts to act, we start identifying with the material body which we possess. That is the function of Kriya Shakti. So Kriya Shakti Rahankara Trividha. So what happens is, just like I gave an example, when we are in a dream state, now when we enter sleep, we forget ourselves. As soon as dream starts, already we have forgotten ourselves. Our original identity we have forgotten, and we start to identify ourselves with the character in the dream. That association with the character is established, right? Because ego has to be there. So our real ego gets converted into false ego. False ego means we are falsely identifying. There is no real entity in a dream, but we are falsely identifying ourselves to be that entity in the dream. That entity is created by our mind. Similarly, the three modes, this Kriya Shakti of the Lord creates a body, and we start to identify with the body because identification is characteristic of the soul, which is called ego. So we forget ourselves, we forget our real ego, and we develop false ego. False ego means identification with the body. Okay. So now then what happens? Trividhaha. So this false ego is of three types. False ego of sattva guna, false ego of rajoguna, false ego of tamoguna. So as soon as a living entity enters into this material energy, his real ego gets converted into false ego because of contaminated consciousness, and he starts to identify with a particular body. Okay. Now, false ego is of three types: sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. Sometimes we are under the influence of sattva guna, so we act like a person in sattva guna. Sometimes we are under the influence of rajoguna, so we act like a person in rajoguna. And sometimes we are under the influence of tamoguna, so we act like a person in tamoguna. That's what is mentioned here. You see, trividha. So three kinds of material ego are present: sattva, rajas, tamas, or goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay. Vaikarikas taijasascha. Vaikarikas taijasascha. Vaikar means vikar or transformation or change. Okay. Vaikarikas taijasascha. Taijasas means rajoguna. Vaikarikas taijasascha tamasascha yato bhava. Tamasas means tamoguna. Taijasas means rajoguna. Vaikarikas means the change or the transformation. Chayato bhava. So what happens? So fall down of the living entity happens. A living entity falls down. Why? Because he starts to identify himself with the three modes: sattva-guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. Okay. Manasaschendriyanam cha bhutanam mahatam api. Okay. And then gradually what happens? Because of false ego, mind, manasascha indriyanam cha bhutanam mahatam api. Bhutanam means living entities. Okay. And mahatam means the five elements or panchabhuta. So manasascha indriyanam cha. So now false ego has developed because of contaminated consciousness. The living entity, his original ego gets converted into false ego. He starts to identify with the body in the three modes of material nature. And then what happens? Now, because he has started identifying, his consciousness has become impure. So, mind cha indriyana, mind and intelligence also, mind and the senses, they also become impure. So, manasas, here mana includes both intelligence and the mind. So, because we are identifying a living entity, he is identifying with the body, just like in a dream. We identify with the character in the dream. So, mind and intelligence also works for that character in the dream. Similarly, mind and intelligence are also characteristic of the spirit soul. Satchidananda potency, chit potency of the spirit soul. For what is this chit potency means mind, intelligence, and ego. Okay. So, mind, intelligence, and ego, they are function of the spirit soul. Body does not have mind, intelligence, and ego. Mind, intelligence, ego is because of the spirit soul, that chit potency, that knowledge, consciousness potency. So, because of consciousness, we have mind, intelligence, ego. Now, here it is mentioned, manasascha indriyanam cha. So, we develop, that means, because our real ego gets converted into false ego, so our mind, intelligence also become impure and we develop material mind and material intelligence. So manasas means mind and intelligence both become impure. Cha indriyanam cha. And the senses also are characteristics of the spirit soul. Do we see or the eyes see? We see through the eyes. Eyes cannot see. The power to see, the potency to see belongs to the spirit soul. The potency to hear, the potency to speak, the potency to touch. Because as soon as the spirit soul leaves, all this potency goes away from the body. So because of whom we are able to see? Because of the spirit soul. So the seer, That means the power to see belongs to the spirit soul. What does it mean? That all the senses also are present in the spirit soul. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, they are characteristics of the spirit soul. Right? It's uh, it's such a beautiful understanding. We should know this because material body is cast over the spiritual body. Our spiritual body is exactly like Krishna. It resembles Krishna or Narayan in Vaikuntha. Okay. So why we have hands? Because body has hands. When we wear a t-shirt or when we wear a shirt or a pant, why our shirt has hands? Because we have hands. Why our pant has legs? Because we have legs. Similarly, why we have material eyes and the senses? Because the spirit soul have got eyes and ears and everything, all the senses. So these material eyes are basically cast over spiritual eyes. You see? So manasaschindriyanam cha means that because of false ego, false mind or false intelligence, that means real ego gets converted into false ego. So our spiritual mind and intelligence gets converted into material mind and intelligence. And the senses also, they develop material covering. So what we see, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin of this material body are a covering over the spiritual mind intelligence, the spiritual senses. So material senses are a covering over the top of material spiritual senses. Okay. Bhutana mahatamapi. So in this way, our original consciousness gets contaminated, then false ego develops. Because of false ego, false mind and false intelligence develop. Then our original senses or spiritual senses get covered by material senses. That is what is mentioned here. So from natural state, we enter into material state of existence. So we'll discuss more about it in the upcoming sessions. Today's session will stop here. Those who are new to the channel can subscribe. All of you can like, comment, share. Thank you very much. Hare